am. Why are you looking so scared?
Aren't you frightened when the earth is shaking and nature seems so wrong? I've been through many powerful storms, but never one as unnatural as this. I've seen storms split great oak trees and seen the ocean rage and foam up to threatening clouds. I've never seen a storm that rains fire from the sky. It seems like the gods are fighting among themselves, or someone has angered them so much that they are sending destruction down on us.
Did you see anything more wonderful?
I saw a slave hold up his left hand, which was on fire, burning like 20 torches, but his hand wasn't burned at all. Then I was near the capital with my sword drawn when I met a lion. Stared at me and walked by without attacking me. I also saw a group of 100 pale, terrified women who said they saw men on fire walking up and down the streets. Yesterday, an owl was hooting in the marketplace at noon. When so many strange things happen together, you can't just say they're natural. I believe these are unnatural signs that warn of terrible things to come for our country.
Indeed, these are strange times, but men may explain these happenings from their own perspective and may arrive to conclusions quite different from the real purpose of such happenings. Will Caesar come to the capital tomorrow?
Yes, he will be there. He asked Antony to tell you that he's coming tomorrow.
Good night then, Cassius. It is not good for us to walk in such a storm.
Goodbye, Cicero.
Who's there?
A Roman.
It is Casca, as it seems from your voice.
You have a good sense of hearing. A strange night it is, Cassius.
A very pleasant night for honest men with a clear conscience.
The heavens have never been seen to be so threatening before.
Men have experienced a night like this when the earth was full of bad things, as it is now. Well, I have walked the streets, exposing myself to the dangers of the night with my naked breast, exposed to all the thunderbolts.
But why did you expose yourself to the thunderbolts? It is expected from men to quake with fear and tremble when the gods send such terrible omens and happenings to astonish us.
You are dull, Casca. Either you are devoid of heroism, which every Roman is expected to possess, or you yourself do not want to use it. You look pale and blank and put on a look of fear and appear lost in amazement at the strange disturbances in the sky. But if you consider the true cause, why fire descends from the sky and ghosts glide by birds and bees in a natural way, opposed like children, and children reason wisely, why everything functions against their usual fixed course, and why things assume a monstrous appearance. You will realize that the heavens have ordained this to make them as a sign of fear, a warning of some abnormal state of things, such as now prevailed in Rome. Now, Casca, I could name a man who was like this awful night, who thunders like the cloud, flashes lightning of anger like the sky, open graves and roars like the lion in the Capitol. He is no way superior to us personally, yet he has changed into something extraordinary and terrible, like these strange outbreaks of nature.
I think, Cassius, it is Caesar who you mean, are you not?
It does not matter who he is. What I want to point out to you is that the Romans of present day have muscles and limbs as their ancestors, but it is sad that the courageous minds of their fathers have died, and they are more inspired by their mother's spirits and the manner. They are ready to submit to oppression which portrays them to be weak and timid. Woman,
You are not wrong in what you say. I've heard that tomorrow the senators plan to make Caesar a king. He'll be allowed to wear a crown everywhere, by sea and land, except here in Italy.
in that case, I know where I shall place my dagger then. I shall wear it in my heart. That is, kill myself and liberate myself from slavery. By this, O God, you have made the weak people strong, and tyrants have been defeated. As when one kills himself, neither towers of stones, nor walls of hammered brass, nor dark, damp, solitary cells, nor iron chains can consign the strong spirit of men. But the freedom-loving man, tired of these man-made bars and limitations of this world, has the power to kill himself. Since I know this myself, I want everyone to know that I can remove the chains of oppression and free myself from it whenever I choose.
So can I. In fact, every slave has this much power in his hand to end his captivity and be free.
Why then should Caesar be a tyrant? I pity him, for I know he has no wish to behave like a fierce wolf. If the Romans were not sheep, he would not like to be a lion. If the Romans were not like deer. People who wish to build a fire quickly start it with rubbish, such as straw. Waste stuff, dirt or refuse these Romans are, that they serve as material upon which Caesar can raise his glory. But I am sorry that I am carried away with my personal grief to utter these words. I am opening my heart to one who is ready to be a slave and welcomes his bondage. And I shall have to pay the penalty. But I am armed, and therefore can be indifferent to danger.
You must know that you are speaking to Casca, and to a man who never betrays his friend's confidence. I give you my hand. I'm fully prepared to join you in this enterprise, and to gather a group to redress all these wrongs. I shall follow you as far as the most bold of all who take part, and be as deeply involved as any man.
So let it be an agreement between us. Now you should know, Casca, that I have already stirred some of the most honorable citizens of Rome to join in this enterprise, though it is an honorable and hazardous one. I know that by this time they will be waiting for me in Pompey's porch, for on such a night the streets will be quiet and deserted.
Keep back a while. Someone comes in a hurry.
It is none other than Cinna. I recognize him in the manner in which he walks. He's a friend, our own man. Cinna, where are you going in such a hurry? To find you. Is that Metellus Cimber who is with you?
No, it is Casca, one who is part of our enterprise.
I am glad to hear what you say. What a fearful night this is.
But first, tell me if they are waiting for me or not.
Yes, they are. Oh, Cassius, if only the Honorable Brutus could be won over to our side.
Don't worry about it. Here, Cinna, take this paper and be sure to put it in the chair where Brutus usually sits, so that he cannot miss seeing it. Take this another and throw it through the window into his room. Fix this one with wax to the statue of his great ancestor. When you have done all this, come to Pompey's porch where we shall wait for you. Now, Casca, before it is day, let us go and see Brutus at his house. He's almost ready to join us. Upon the next meeting, we shall completely have him on our side.
He has respect among all the citizens. He is the favorite hero of the people. He has won their hearts. His approval and support to our plan will give it a moral approval, and it will be changed to virtue.
and merit.
You have correctly estimated him and his worth, so let us leave. It is already past midnight. Before the night is over, we will make sure Brutus is on our side.